What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wednesday Film Day. We're back again with another great series this week after a win this time, which is a lot more fun than a loss. As you see, I'm a little baby-faced here from last week, but we're here. It's new. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here, we're going to highlight really quick the pass rush, which we did a really great job of this week. It was one of my keys to the game, and we really stepped up in that aspect this past weekend. Right here, I just want to highlight Kayvon Walker, who's rushing from, I believe right here, it's a 5-tech. And this is where I'd love to see him. I'd love to see maybe a little bit more inside, taking more of an inside track to the quarterback, really affecting the game from the interior, because that's what I believe he's built for. He's not the quickest or the fastest on the outside with the best bend, so I think he can really affect the game from an interior rushing position, and here he does, and I just want to show that real quick. So we see just a straight bull rush, and he pushes him all the way back into him, gets a hand on him, and gets the sack. So once again, it's just a fantastic effort from Kayvon Walker, who just bull rushes here, pushes him all the way back in, and makes a great play for the sack here on 3rd and 6. So I want to see more of that. It's what I really enjoy from Kayvon Walker in his game, his strength, his hand fighting, and his quick footwork. He may not be the fastest, he may not have the best bend, but he's strong, quick, and has great hands. So it's something to keep an eye on. If he keeps rushing from the interior, he could quickly become one of the premier defensive tackles in this league. Now we're going to move to the defensive side of the ball, where we're going to highlight a play where I believe Frank Ginda could have done a lot better in coverage. That's one of the areas he kind of struggled with in college and in the AAF, and something he's really working on and growing. While he's in good position here, he really needs to work on his technique of fighting through the ball to make a play here. And there's a big 3rd and 2 early in the game. We could have gotten the ball back here very quickly and stopped the score, so this is a really big play when you look at the scheme of things. So we're going to keep our eyes right on the bottom of the screen. First thing I want to talk about is this is a mismatch. Frank Ginda should not be going up against Jordan Smallwood, a very talented receiver for the team, but it looks like we only have two corners here, or there's actually, you know what? There's a guy on the bottom of the screen down here. I'm pretty sure you can't really get a good view because they keep this giant ESPN thing down here that blocks half the camera. But we're going to keep an eye on this matchup right here. First, second thing I want to bring up is this is a great throw by Josh Johnson. But he does a good job here. He stays in somewhat decent position all the way through here. Then a great ball, and then he swipes at the ball. We're going to get a better view here in a second. But you see he swipes at it. So his hand's only there for a split second if the ball is there. What he should have done is stabbed at it, stabbed his arm. So you'll see right here. Swing arm a little bit here. Boom. By swinging, he misses the ball and doesn't get another chance at knocking it out. If he stabbed his hands through the receiver's hands, like his hands are here, and you just stab your hands through, you have a chance to disrupt the ball as soon as it gets into the receiver's hands. And that way you can bounce it out and make a play. By swiping at it, he misses it once, and it doesn't let him get a chance to make a play. It's a great throw and a great catch by the Wildcats, but this is a play where Frank Ginda could have played this a little bit better from a technique standpoint, and I believe he'll work on that in the weeks to come. He's a very talented athlete, very talented linebacker. Just one of the things he needs to work on is his coverage technique. All right, so before anything else is said about Luis Perez, I actually did really like his game this week. He played pretty well, all things considered, a 75% true accuracy percentage. He didn't take a lot of chances down the field, though. Here's one of them, and it was a really great throw. He did miss a wide-open receiver that I noticed after rewatching the game, but still a great throw from Luis Perez to Teo Redding here, and I just want to show that and highlight that really quick. So as we see, it's about a couple step drops, 2nd and 7. Great throw right over this dropping corner to Teo Redding right there. We're going to get a better look at it here in a second. But as we're going to see, watch this route down here. He works inside and just nice little easy speed out right over the top. Great throw, great catch for the first down to get us into the red zone. This did end up being a field goal due to some bad play calling, but it was a really good throw by Luis Perez. But I do want to acknowledge that he did miss a wide-open receiver in Colby Pearson. This has happened a couple times now, not just to Luis Perez, but boom. Just because the safety right here is following his eyes, if he had looked mostly this way and whipped his eyes back, oh, we have a wide-open guy right here when he runs this corner. So right now, I'd be tossing it this way, ripping my eyes back. He is in his throwing motion already, so it's a little bit late, but he did miss a wide-open Colby Pearson just because the corner is biting on the flat. The safety is working with that post that's coming on the inside. So Hopefully we see that decision-making develop as he feels more comfortable in the offense so he can push the ball downfield more successfully into more wide open guys. I mean, this is a fantastic throw. Probably his best throw of the game, but it's just a missed opportunity here to get 6 from this drive. All right, so one of the best things about this game from just a whole team's perspective is the rise of this pass rush. They looked so much faster. They worked with so much fire. Every single one of these D linemen, especially Jarrell Owens. Jarrell Owens here, for example, has a great rep against their right tackle. And I just want to give you an example of his hand fighting and his little bit of bend he shows during this rep. So as we see, we're going to be watching Jarrell Owens right here. You can tell he's always got the red cleats and red gloves on. It's a great combo. It looks fantastic. But we're just going to keep an eye on that as he works against this right tackle. So first we see a little bit of a hesitation move. And then he just, as soon as that tackle lunges, he fights off the hands really fast and gets the tackle off balance so he can just work past. So as we see a nice little bit of bend here to get around the corner so he doesn't get pushed upfield and not able to get the sack. That's some of the problem I have with Bumney Rotini in his game. He doesn't always show great bend. And Jarrell Owens, the little I watched film of him from Oklahoma State, he did not show great bend. But this is a fantastic rep to show that bend. He works, gets pushed a little bit off balance here, but due to that bend and flexibility in the hips, he's able to stay on target and get the sack. So we're just going to run through it one more time, just fluid. Great move there. Works the bend, gets across, hustles, and gets the sack. It's a great play by Jarrell Owens that forces a 4th and 7 and a punt when they were beginning to drive the football a little bit. And we did that kind of all day. We really stood strong on 3rd down. All right, so like I said before, Luis Perez had a pretty good game, and here's just another example of that. Here he takes a chance, really does, because this is supposed to be a run play. You can see it by how the rest of the linemen block and how that guard down blocks Damian Mama. I actually think he probably messed up on this play because he completely ignores this defensive tackle that just comes in and hits him. But Luis Perez takes a really big chance and makes a lot out of this opportunity. So we're going to go ahead and just watch here. I want you guys to keep an eye on 77 Damian Mama here and John Kling right here. So as we see, Damian Mama works down right away, and John Kling works out to throw this defensive tackle out of the play so we can't make a play working down the line of scrimmage, which makes sense. I just think that number 77, Damian Mama, really had a miscommunication and missed his block because I think he's supposed to get that right defensive end there. But we're going to go back. He takes a chance. This is supposed to be a run play. Nobody else goes out in a route except for him, and I think that's a check they had. He takes a shot, takes a hit, throws the perfect ball to the outside where only Mikhail McKay can get it. That's really understanding your receivers and your matchups. And now we're going to go ahead and look at this route by Mikhail McKay and why it was so good. First off, great ball placement by Luis Perez. It really shows what he can do well, which is his accuracy. That's his short area accuracy, which is really the big part of his game considering he doesn't have elite arm strength. So as we see here, gets hit, puts the ball in the perfect spot, though, for Mikhail McKay to big body and make the play. But we're going to watch this route here real quick, and I want to tell you why him keeping the DB in front of him actually made this play work. So we're going to reverse here a little bit. So I just want you guys to watch his feet. He takes a step here, makes him take an extra step back, creating some separation there. Any bit of separation in the red zone is good. Hesitates there, works outside, and just keeps the DB in front of him, allowing him to big body him on a back shoulder fade. I'm guessing that was communicated beforehand, because otherwise Mikhail McKay would have tried to work to that corner of the end zone. But by communicating beforehand, he basically just boxes out the corner for the catch in the end zone that results in a touchdown. Really big play, really great play by Luis Perez and Mikhail McKay. As some of you may have noticed, Bryce Jones has not been playing that outside corner for the most part, and Drayvon Askew Henry, or as I say, DAH, has been really stepping up at that outside corner spot opposite of Jamar Summers. And here's an example of why. He's shown great patience throughout his time, great technique, and I've been really surprised. He's been really the revelation of this defense as a whole when you watch him. I mean, here's a great example of him against Trey McBride, really putting on a clinic for how to cover a short whip route. So we're going to go ahead and run through. I want you guys to watch up here at the top corner. First thing he does, get a hand on. I just want to go back. It's patience. It's not a lunge. It's a hand on, opens up again, stays square, opens up again, stays square, and fantastic coverage, man. This is just textbook. If you're a young corner out there, watch this clip over and over again. This is how you cover a whip route. This comes from experience probably working in the slot because there's a lot of whip routes in the slot. This is a fantastic technique. works the press with one hand on the inside hand when he works outside to keep his hips open. When he comes back in, he simply switches his hands and opens his hips the other way and then switches it back, staying square the entire time. Fantastic technique. I love what DAH has been doing. I expect him to probably continue playing that outside corner. He got pulled late because of some disciplinary actions, but I fully expect him to be back and starting this next week just because he's shown a lot of upside at that outside corner. I'm a really big fan of what he's been doing out there. Oh, yeah, and we're going to run this through one more time because I love this clip. I love this rep. Oh, that's just pretty football, guys. That's just pretty football. All right, so here we're going to be talking about Drayvon Askew Henry again, and what I believe was a really bad holding call on him. Now, the flag afterwards where he threw the flag back at the ref was understandable. They should have thrown the flag, I agree. Do I understand how Drayvon Askew Henry was feeling? 100%. There's a bad holding call on you. You get a flag thrown in your lap. I'm moving that. I'm not just going to drop it. I'm going to throw it back because I think it's a bad call. So I understand the emotion. I understand what Drayvon Askew Henry was thinking. Now, should he have done it? No. Obviously, you have to control your emotions a little bit better because that's going to hurt your team in the long run. As we see, there is a big touchdown in the next play that I don't know would have happened if there wasn't this bad unsportsmanlike conduct call on Drayvon Askew Henry. But we're just going to look at the holding call here because I do think it was a really bad call that led to that unsportsmanlike conduct that led to the touchdown. It was a really big series of events. So you see he gets the flag thrown at him and he throws it back. And he's just like, what the hell was the call? And then you kind of see Andrew Soro there like, what were you doing, dude? But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get to the call here. I just want to show you this rep and see what I see from a DB's perspective on why this should have been a no call. So as we'll see here in just a second, I believe they'll show it. They showed it. Yep. As we'll see here in just a second, he gets beat off the line, yes. But now he has his hands on his hip like a normal defensive back does when they're playing there. He's a little bit beat. So, but as you see, there's no real holding there. He never gets inhibited in his route. I just think it's not a good throw. And since it looked like he may have been, there was a hand on the hip, the ref threw the flag when the wide receiver motioned his hands. So I really think it's a bad call by the ref, bad decision, and I think that led to a really bad series of events for Drayvon Askew Henry that ended up with him getting pulled. So bad call led to a bad series of events for the Guardians there. All right, and here we go with another bad call against Guardians defensive backs. I've heard some different takes on this one because it was just pass interference, and it could be taken different ways. From a DB's perspective, though, and maybe it seems a little bit biased, this wasn't a play action. This is not play action, my bad. This was not a pass interference by the defensive back because he was still playing the ball. And I'll go through it, and we'll see better angles here in a second, but we're just going to run through this play. Bryce Jones up top against, I believe, Jordan Smallwood again. We get the deep pass. They both work towards the ball. They're both falling backwards, and they both fight for the ball when it's in the hands. And then we get personally, I believe, a really bad PI call here. We're going to see another angle here in a second. Bryce Jones is confused. Doesn't throw a flag back, thank goodness. But we'll see here in just a second. Let's see if it gets to it. I'll fast forward a little bit here. Here we go. As we'll see, I'm going to pause it right here. They're both in each other's bodies, right? Both are hand fighting. It's equal. I just don't see, maybe you could argue an arm bar, but at the same time, he's just fighting through his hands. He doesn't inhibit his ability to go back to the ball. They're both hands on each other. And what I really see is just Bryce Jones trying to fight through the hands and make a play on the ball. He's not fighting through his chest. He didn't push him off. So I'm just really confused where this flag is coming from. I guess maybe if I'm behind, I maybe can see where you could say that because their hands are all over each other. And usually those type of plays go towards the offense when it comes to a flag. But I'm so confused where this flag comes in. It's a really questionable call in my eyes. Like, here's another view. There's a hand on the shoulder, yeah, maybe. But at the same time, that doesn't inhibit his ability to go back towards the ball. Again, they're just fighting all over for the ball there. I just think it's a really good play by Bryce Jones to break up that pass. And I don't know, in slow-mo, everything looks worse than it does, first of all. But I think that's just a bad call by the refs there. All right, so as some of you know, defensive back in my previous life, I believe I mentioned it in the 2 videos before this. Sorry, guys. But I love good defensive back technique. When I see it, I melt a little bit because I love watching it. And this, I don't have a full clip of the whole rep by Jamar Summers, but on this interception, this is beautiful technique to fight through the hands for the ball, and it ended up in an interception. When you fight through the hands, good things tend to happen for the defensive back. So I just want to go through this again and show you guys just a fantastic technique and why he's probably the best corner in the league. So as you see here, right? Fights right through the hands. Doesn't fight through. You could argue maybe he got there a little early, but they're never going to call that because you're both going for the ball. I'm going to go back a little bit here. We're going to see the return a little bit, but just fights through the hands, tips the ball, and then it just lands right in his hands afterwards. When you fight through the hands, good things happen, and Jamar Summers is an excellent example of that because he just makes plays when the ball's in the air. And he gets turnovers, and it's a fantastic play by Jamar Summers to get the ball back and change momentum back into New York's favor. All right, so Darius Victor was a huge part of this game, and the reason I haven't covered him much is there was a lot of examples of him bruising because these guys did not want to tackle him, but I wanted to highlight a little bit more of a technique thing. So here's Darius Victor right here. We're going to be running a pretty simple run play here. It looks like it's just going to be a trap counter type of play. You see him working one way, he's going to try to work the other. It's kind of a trap play. See the trap? There's supposed to be a hole right here, right? This defensive end / defensive tackle starts to work inside, and this is an example of great vision by Darius Victor to bounce the ball outside and get yards when there really shouldn't be. So as you see here, he just works off the butt of Damian Mama here. Does a great job of just letting the guy work where he wants to work and let the running back read it. So he sees that, reads it, bounces it out, and ends up getting a gain of 10 yards. These Wildcats did not want to tackle Darius Victor, and while this isn't a great example of it, there's plenty of plays, even the one right before this one, where he just bruises and does not go down because these guys do not want to tackle him or hit him. I remember seeing one play where a guy was getting up just like on all fours, just like, oh, he just looks exhausted after tackling Darius Victor, and that's what a bruising runner can do for you. And that's why the Guardians chose these types of backs, even though I personally prefer guys like Justin Stockton or Matthew Colburn. That's why they chose those types of backs. And here we're finally seeing it kind of come to fruition. So this next play is going to be a really simple one, a really textbook kind of one. Not very exciting, but I just really want to highlight something that Ryan Moyer does from a technique standpoint because it's very sound and it's not something that gets praised during highlight reels or anything like that, but it's something that gets praised in the film room. So I just want to highlight Ryan Moyer's right here. It's going to be a simple stretch play across the end, kind of a read option look where Josh Johnson can pull and run it because he's going to be reading Ryan Moyer right here. You can see where his head, it's actually, never mind, I'm totally wrong here. It's just a straight stretch play. You can kind of see by where all these linemen are working, trying to get to the second level over here. But the defense doesn't know that. Ryan Moyer does a great job staying square and home for a split second to react to this quarterback right here, and then immediately is able to run straight across the line because he stays square and doesn't work too far upfield and work across the line to make the tackle here. Very textbook. We're going to just run through it full speed here. Very textbook. Doesn't get praised in highlights, but is praised in the film room because he's the one that stopped that from being anywhere close to any yardage gained. So great rep by Ryan Moyer. Great technique overall, and it's one of the reasons I love him on this defensive line. All right, so I almost forgot this clip, but here's a really interesting one that I love. I remember I talked about a couple weeks ago during the DC game, Bumney Rotimi moving in to the inside and rushing from an interior spot. Well, now we see Jarrell Owens right here doing it and Bumney Rotimi on the same side. Now that's just straight mean to offensive linemen. As you see, these guys are going to slide to their left, and then Jarrell Owens' just quickness. He's a lot faster than your average defensive tackle on our team. Is just going to beat the center and create an easy pressure that causes an incompletion on a 3rd and 3. That ended up being a 4th and 3 and turned into a turnover. So as we see here, he navigates the pressure by pushing this guy straight into the other D lineman. His speed beats here. He hooks his arm, turns, and gets the pressure. Really quick, really easy. Fantastic play by Jarrell Owens. I just want to run through it in full speed here in just a second, just so you can see. Once again, works through there, hooks the arm, makes a play, forces the 4th down. Really big play from Jarrell Owens. He really showed out all game with 2 sacks, a blocked field goal, and 7 pressures. So he's probably my defensive MVP from the game, and here's just an example of why he made a lot of impacts from a bunch of different places on the field.